Hello and welcome back to the Morrissey and Wine podcast. My name's George.
I'm Chris.
I'm a newspaper journalist based in East Midlands of the UK. Chris, what do you do for work?
I live in Manchester. I work in social housing.
Oh yes, sorry, yes. You live in Manchester, the hometown of Morrissey, of course.
Yes. But I'm from Derby, from round the corner, down the road from you.
Yeah, a few streets away. Yeah, me and Chris met about 10 years ago. We've been friends ever since. We bonded over our love of Morrissey and the Smiths.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, there weren't that many people around. You know, what was it, 10 years ago in Derby? There's not going to be a lot of people who like Morrissey and the Smiths.
Yeah, you
apart
say
from
that.
your friends' mums and dads.
Yeah, you say that, but it's actually quite a big in Derby, which is in the East Midlands of the UK, as you say. There's quite a lot of Morrissey fans from that area. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's right. You go to the discos like at the Star and Garter, and quite often people would say I'm from Derby, but maybe that's confirmation bias. Maybe we just remember it.
Maybe.
But anyway, sorry, what were you going to say something?
No.
Anyway, this month we have got a big guest. So last month we had Bosborough, which was a big coup for us. Fantastic interview, and thank you again to Bos for doing it. We kind of thought, where do we go from here? Because the only way is up, and the only way up is Morrissey, and Morrissey has not replied to our email, so I guess that's not going to happen this time.
For now.
We might get an email in the next few minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have found someone just as interesting, just as crucial to the Morrissey story, and that is Alain Whyte. So Alain Whyte is Morrissey's most prolific songwriter. Goes all the way back to his first song that he wrote for Morrissey, which was Passionate Love.
Yeah.
And it's been going on since then. We had a really interesting chat with him.
Really interesting, yeah.
He really opened up and talked honestly and was a really nice guy, wasn't he?
It was a really enjoyable chat. It was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
And we got some really interesting background to some of the things. So, yeah.
And a preview as to what the new Morrissey album, Without Music the World Dies, sounds like. Stuff that I've never heard outside of this interview. So that's coming up at the end.
And also I helped you pronounce the Alan, yeah,
because I asked Chris, like, is it Alain? Is it Alian?
It's very exotic.
Yeah, because I know how it's spelled and I know who he is, but I thought, God, what if I say Alan and it's Alain or something? But no.
We sorted that one out, didn't we?
Yes. Probably makes me sound really stupid, which I am. Now, we're going to have this interview coming up at the end. It's going to be 20 minutes, the best 20 minutes of the interview. But we have launched something. It's a Patreon. You may have heard of Patreon. It's a way to support artists financially. And we think it's a really good fit for us. So I'll tell you a little bit about it. I won't go on too long. If you pay a monthly fee, you will get 5 things in return from us. One of those is full unedited interviews with our guests. So you'll be able to hear the full 45 minute interview with Alan and all the little tidbits that we couldn't quite fit into this podcast. You'll also get a bonus monthly episode, Chris and George off mic.
Ooh.
Unleashed,
God. Lock up your sons and daughters.
So that'll give us the opportunity to just go into a bit more detail, a bit more opinion, kind of what we really think about stuff. This month we're going to talk about what happened between Morrissey and his manager, or at least our opinions and our analysis of that. Safe in the knowledge that Morrissey isn't going to subscribe to our Patreon and therefore won't hear what we're going to say.
He won't fork out £4.50.
No, he's got Jaguars to pay the lease on.
Service.
Yeah. So you'll get that. You'll be able to join the exclusive members only WhatsApp chat with 100 diehard dedicated Morrissey fans who really know their stuff. You can choose the next song that Nanny Val reacts to, and we've got a handful of Patreon subscribers already, and they've suggested songs that Nanny Val is going to listen to this time. So she is currently choosing which one.
Oh, she's not chose yet?
No.
Okay.
She's going to text me and tell me what she's chose. And finally, you'll get the Morrissey Mercury fanzine 1 week before everybody else. So if you want to support us, and we would really appreciate it if you did, you'll also get something back in return. That's £4.50 for people in the UK, or $5 in America, but you can subscribe from anywhere across the world. So that's my pitch. How did I do?
Yeah, good. Yeah, you've sold. Maybe. No, I think just what I'd add to that, the WhatsApp group. I'm not a salesperson either, but the WhatsApp group, I've really found that useful because there's lots of groups online, pages. There's certain websites, that are a bit toxic to some extent, that Morrissey forums and things. But this one I think is quite friendly. I think people are people are quite kind on there.
Yeah.
And I put something on, didn't I, recently, a picture of a T-shirt that I got, a mystery T-shirt I bought, and it had Morrissey in what looked like a barber's chair. I didn't know where the original picture was from, and I put it on the group, and they told me it's within a minute or so that it was from the Frankenstein movie when they putting the prosthetics on the actor who played the monster.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah, they really know their stuff in that group. And the reason why there's 100 people in it is not because we have 100 Patreon subscribers, but rather it has been an open group until now. We've now sort of closed it to new members, and if you want to join, that's one of the benefits of being a Patreon subscriber. So, we've got some wine already. I know we usually pour it on mic, but we were thirsty.
Some more anyway. So,
you drank that quickly. I've got some white. It's Casiero del Diablo, which is one of my favourites because it's usually under a tenner. It's a Sauvignon Blanc. And Chris has got...
it's a Memoro Italia, is that how you say it?
Memoro Italia.
Well, I'm not part Italian like you. And it's a red wine.
A red wine, yeah. And that was £7, I believe. Mine was £7.50.
Mine was £7.50.
Oh, okay.
With a club card.
With a club card, yeah. That's a loyalty scheme if you're not based in the UK, and we all hate it because they rip us off if we don't have a club card. But anyway, next we're going to go into news from the world of Morrissey and the Smiths. So, what's on the agenda this week, rather this month? First up, Johnny Marr. Now, you've probably heard all about this. If you're a big fan, you've heard nothing but this. The feud between Morrissey and Marr just gets worse and worse. The headline from the Johnny Marr camp is the quote, "As for the offer to tour, I didn't ignore the offer, I said no." So, we're not going to go into the ins and outs of the feud because you'll be fully aware of that if you're listening or watching this podcast. But the key thing, in my opinion, is the question, what's stopping Johnny from rejoining Morrissey and touring? Now, whether that's under the name of the Smiths, which isn't really fair because Andy Rourke has died and it sounds like Mike Joyce wouldn't be part of it, I don't know. But the concept of Morrissey and Johnny Marr touring, what's stopping Johnny from saying yes? Is it politics, or is he holding out for a bigger monetary offer?
Think.
Well, I think it's possible. I mean, if he is doing that, he will get a better offer. I think AEG will come back and say, here's another, I don't know, I don't even know the sums involved, another 10 million or something.
There's a lot of risk though involved in that sort of thing, isn't there? Because it could not happen at the last minute.
Yeah.
Because of the Morrissey and Marr.
But I mean, a lot of people are not in favour of the concept, are they?
I'm not particularly, no.
You're not?
No, not massively. I think I don't think it's needed. I think Morrissey's doing great stuff right now. I mean, he needs to get some albums out, but I love what's happening there. I mean, what would they create? I mean, I suppose the formula was great before Morrissey and Marr, the lyrics and the music. So I suppose that would be if there's new stuff coming. But just seeing them perform the same songs doesn't really, I don't think, adds anything.
See, I would love it.
Really?
I would really love to see Morrissey and Marr together again, because Marr is the perfect guitarist, Morrissey is the perfect singer. They have the perfect chemistry, or at least they did. Whether they still do, I don't know.
Once they've kissed and made up.
Kissed and made up, yeah. There would have to be some kind words, publicly.
But I think they do. I think they do still care about it. I think it's just easy to throw things at each other like that. I don't think it's that deep. I think it's more surface.
And is it a bit like a brother, that you fight with, and you could say horrible things, but deep down you still care about them? And maybe that's rose-tinted glasses from us.
You say that, but I also thought I would have thought that the Andy dying would possibly stop some of that, because I think, oh God, that could have been one of us. That could have been one of us as well.
Yeah.
And then they, so it's and that's obviously very final, isn't it?
I think Mike Joyce was in the NME just recently, and he did say that the passing of Andy Rourke had helped him to start talking to Johnny Marr again. So yeah, I think there is something in that. Mike Joyce interestingly said, I found the public spat between Marr and Morrissey quite distasteful. I think distasteful was the word.
Yeah, he did say that. Yeah.
And he said he would have done it, behind closed doors. So make of that what you will. So let's leave the feud there. We all know about it. That's kind of our take. Next on the agenda is...
So so next on the agenda, The Sound of the Smiths has been in the top 100 UK chart albums for 74 consecutive weeks. Is that right?
Yeah, it is right. Yeah,
I think I mixed the words up, but the words were right.
So The Sound of the Smiths has been in the top 100 UK album charts.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, for 74 consecutive weeks.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
So this is really interesting because, as I've written on our notes, the record was first released in 2008.
And only then it was only in for 7 weeks, wasn't it?
7 weeks.
So, yeah, so it's a big difference there.
And this, in my opinion, and I'm not a music mogul, and I may be completely wrong, but in my opinion, this is why AEG are asking the Smiths to reform, because they can see there's a massive surge of interest, which is probably bigger now than it has been since 2008 at least. There's money to be made.
Definitely.
So we want to just put that on record, because sometimes people who don't like the Smiths and Morrissey, they tend to class it all as old-fashioned stuff that no one's interested in anymore.
But it's very relevant, yeah.
Very relevant. And
that's your favourite album, isn't it, Sound of the Smiths?
The best album of the Beatles is Best of the Beatles. That's a crap Alan Partridge, really crap Alan Partridge accent.
You're actually good at accents, that was so bad.
That was like a train announcer, wasn't it?
It's idiot, yeah.
The next stop on the service is London St Pancras.
So that's great. I think that's really good. We know that they're very relevant, but that's just proof, isn't it? So yeah, what's next, George?
So we'll touch briefly on this. This is the fact that Morrissey has severed all connections. That's the exact quote. Severed all connections with Red Light Management / Pete Galley. I just wanted to mention this because obviously this was a few weeks ago. You will already know about it, but we managed to get an exclusive statement from Pete Galley. Just by contacting him and asking him, would you like to say anything, having parted ways with Morrissey? And I'll just read you a couple of lines. We got this, as I say, exclusively. He said, "It was an honour to work with Morrissey. He is truly a genius and an inspiration. One of the greatest living lyricists, poets, songwriters, performers and personalities, and one of the greatest animal rights activists in history, a beacon for free speech." He ends with, "He is the living definition of a true artist and deserves to be respected and honoured as a national and international treasure." So this is fulsome praise.
Yes.
From someone who you might expect would be feeling a little bit bitter. Now, I was going to say having been dropped. We don't know which way round it was.
Yeah.
But we would presume that it was Morrissey who cut ties with Pete Galley, because from what we understand, Pete Galley had some pretty good plans for Morrissey and was on the edge of getting some really good progress. So I don't think Pete Galley would have wanted to drop that, but we don't know. He hasn't told us.
But it was great to hear that, and it was obviously we're doing this because we love Morrissey, and we think he's great. But it's nice to hear that even though he's not working together anymore, he hasn't come out and he's not spat his dummy out, has he? He's said some really nice things. Yeah, and of course you have to if you work in that industry. You can't go bad mouthing every ex-client, but this goes up beyond that. He's not just said, "I enjoyed working with Morrissey and I'm sad that our relationship is terminated." He said this really positive stuff, which I think shows a lot of class. And who knows? Could they get back together again? Could they resume these plans? Now we're going to talk about that topic in more detail on Chris and George Off Mic, Chris and George Unleashed, our bonus episode, which you'll get if you become a Patreon subscriber. What's next on the agenda? So next is a Nancy Sinatra.
Yeah.
So she said, "I know, it broke my heart," and that was in response to a tweet saying that Morrissey was a right-wing nut job. I love the word nut job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it's supposed to be quite an American word to say nut job. You don't say that, do we? But it's just so funny.
Yeah. So this was a shame because Nancy Sinatra had only just done this thread on Twitter talking about her old pal Morrissey and how he promised to get her back in the charts if she covered "Let Me Kiss You," which she did, and she did get in the charts. Yeah. And
the first time since she got back in the charts.
70s or something. Yeah, first time since the 70s.
Which is pretty big.
And then someone sends her a tweet saying, "Oh, it's a shame that Morrissey turned out to be a right-wing nut job," and she quote tweets it and says, "Oh yeah, I know, that broke my heart." And I thought, but you just said he's your old pal, and he's not a right-wing nut job. But then the thing is, Nancy Sinatra is very political. I've noticed.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I think I was confused about that one then, because I thought the tweet broke her heart, that someone would say that sort of thing.
No, she said it broke my heart. So the fact that Morrissey is a right-wing nutjob broke her heart.
Maybe that's why she isn't replying to be on our podcast.
Well, we have asked, yeah. I mean, I'd love to interview her. She's one of my heroes.
Me too, yeah.
For many reasons. So she's entitled to her opinion, of course, but it's a shame that she would kind of air that laundry in public. But she may have very good reasons for doing that, so we don't know. But slightly bad taste in the mouth, that one.
Yeah. And then finally?
Yeah, just finally. So a fundraiser for a mural of Andy Rourke in Manchester to celebrate his life and raise money for the Pancreatic Cancer Action charity based in the UK has reached, the fundraiser has reached £24,000. It's got a 25 grand target, so basically that's going to happen. If you donate more than £10, you get entered into like a raffle to win some Smith stuff.
Okay.
And Mike Joyce has really been pushing this fundraiser, and it's been in quite a few of the magazines and newspapers and stuff. So that's really good. If you haven't heard about that yet and you want to donate, just Google that. We did tweet a link to it on the Morrissey Mercury Twitter. So I think that about covers news from the world of Morrissey and Smith. Another busy month.
Yeah, very busy.
It always is. This is not a band that died in the 80s. It's not an artist that died in the 80s. It's stuff happening all the time.
Yeah.
Very
alive.
It's alive!
It's alive.
Okay, so next we are going to go into Nanny Val Reacts, and we'll find out what she's chosen from the suggestions from Patreon subscribers.
We don't even know yet ourselves.
We don't even know. It's going to be a big surprise, big reveal. What was it about this song that made you think I'll go for that one?
Well, I think it was more they gave me a choice of four. So it was I'm Not a Man, The Girl from Tel Aviv, He Knows I'd Love to See Him, and The Operation. And I sort of listened to all of them because, of course, they were all absolutely brand new to me. Yeah. I don't know all of the songs, so I sort of have to listen and make a decision. I thought the words on I'm Not a Man, I think they're great. I didn't enjoy all of the sound effects on the introduction. It seemed very experimental. I think that was the keyboardy sort of one. Yeah, so I sort of dismissed that one. Although I thought the words were great, a lot of what he was saying and that I thought were very interesting. The Girl from Tel Aviv I thought was a bit too current at the moment, and although again, sorry, I've written some of this down because I won't remember it all.
That's okay.
As at the end when he said, what do you think all these conflicts are for? It's because the land weeps oil. And I think so many of the conflicts in the Middle East are exactly that. But there's people suffering on all sides. So it's a very hard one to participate in and to take a view on, I just think there's good people all over the world that don't need this in their life, all this war and stress. And as you know, I'm Aquarian, so I believe in peace for humanity. That's my main aim. Although I was let down on the dawning of Aquarius when I always thought that would be it, the year 2000. Suddenly there would be, time of great peace. That hasn't happened yet. What was the other one? He Knows I'd Love to See Him. I only listened to it briefly and I assumed it was about Johnny Marr, but I wasn't sure about the era it was. I thought possibly it was about him. And again, that's been brought up again currently. So I thought I'm not knowledgeable enough to make a judgment on that one.
Yeah.
It left me with The Operation, which I know very little about to talk about, but I'll try.
Well, I'm so
nervous of this, George.
I think you're doing a brilliant job. Please don't worry, you're doing great. I'll just tell you what I know very little about The Operation. I understand it might have been about his partner at the time.
What I've assumed.
His partner was a bit of a bruiser, a bit of a skinhead type. How whether that was just aesthetic, I don't know. But That's my inkling of the song, but I wonder what you made of it.
Yeah. There are references to him fighting with one hand and caressing with the other, etc.
Mm.
When I looked at the partner he admitted to in the book for a couple of years, I think he was a boxer and had tattoos, etc. I believe the
Yeah.
photographer was it, or
Yes,
I
yes,
can't remember.
that's
What was
correct.
the name?
Jake Walters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I assumed it might be him. Although I couldn't find any live videos of him physically singing it. All of them had like one had Notre Dame on it.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah, yeah. There is a
the
song called Notre
Hunchback.
Dame.
One had the Hunchback of Notre Dame
Yeah.
at the front to it, so I couldn't see his. I like to see him and how he's reacting to
Mm.
songs. And on the cover, it was him, which I thought possibly was his partner at the time. Oh, that cat.
Judy. Sorry.
His partner at the time. There was I saved it actually on my phone, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll show you. But I believe it was the cover of the album with a guy with very black curly hair with a little strand down.
Mm.
Do you know who that was?
No, I don't. Do you mean the cover of Southpaw Grammar, the
Yes.
album?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think.
he was a famous boxer, I believe, but I don't know his name.
Oh, again, well, it could have been him then, because there's a
Mhm.
reference to. And why was it called Southport Grammar? Do you know?
Well,
Southport Grammar.
obviously, I know you'll know, but for anyone who doesn't, Southpaw means that you box primarily with your left hand, doesn't it?
Yes, correct.
So I
Correct. Yeah.
think it's like the rules of living life when you're a bit different, when you're working with a left hand, that sort of thing.
No, I guess that. I wonder again. There were all these boxing references through, Um, but also there was all this. I don't know when commonplace cosmetic surgery started, but it seems as if it's someone that has physically changed appearance and
Okay.
had something done to him, maybe reconstructive surgery if he was in the boxing ring. I don't know. And
Hmm.
he makes lots of reference to him to me. You're not the same person. You've um, ever since you don't look the same. You're just
Hmm.
not the same, no way. And there's lots of references to that. And the very last line is, "What the hell have they stuck into you?" And it ends very abruptly. And again, I assume it must be that someone's changed their physical appearance in some way.
Hmm.
But again,
And
guess not, as
and
usual.
and perhaps definitely there's a change of physical appearance. I mean, I've always interpreted it as maybe he started to wear fancier clothes. Maybe he's got ideas above his station. But there's also clearly a personality change, isn't there? There's a metaphor going on.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, because he's saying like, you're flying your own kite, but it's got a big tear in it, etc. Like
mm,
he's obviously, and he's trying to be nice when he wasn't, previously. There's
mm,
lots of references to the person changing in appearance and in emotionally, and in their reactions to him, and of which he obviously didn't prove. God, you're
a cat. Joni does this about once a week, and as soon as I put the video camera on, she's done it 4 times.
she's she's on camera.
But
Like your grandmother, she obviously relishes it. I don't.
um, so yeah, so this if it is based on his partner at the time, and there's his partner changing maybe to impress people or whatever, I wonder, is that an experience that you've had in life? Have you met someone and thought they're one thing, and then as you get to know them, they turn into someone completely different?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure, but I wonder which one you're thinking of.
No, I'm not thinking of anyone.
um, no, no. They always say you have to live with someone to know them. You know what I mean? Because obviously, initially, you see their best characteristics and all their charm,
Mhm.
etc. And then sometimes when you're with them, they change personality completely. Whereas before, like in my lifetime, usually that you were with someone for a long, long time, and perhaps you both changed over the years and grew further apart. But it wasn't such an instantaneous thing as this. But he obviously says somewhere about him. He really loved this guy, didn't he?
Mm.
Um, I can't find the line, but do you know where I used to love you or something like that? Or there was definitely something.
I know he said that his life was just sort of like bliss for 2 years or something when he was with this person in autobiography.
Yeah, I thought there was a line in this actual song though when he
Oh,
says loving him. I may be wrong. I may have confused it with one of the others that I was
Well,
briefly looking at.
he says, sad. He says, sad to say how once I was in love with you.
Yes, that's right. That's what I was thinking. So it is obviously related to a specific person,
Mm.
as I always believe all of his songs are. I must be wrong, but I do think obviously they're all taken from personal experience, and he expands them to allow everyone else to feel what he's feeling about their own partners, you know?
Yes.
But, yeah, no, he's brilliant at that. But yeah, I did wonder about all of those things. But what else can I say?
Could you tell, because I read whether it was in Mozopedia somewhere else or even autobiography, he had a really bad cold when he was recording this album and he was really worried about how it would sound. I just wondered if you thought his voice sounded different.
No, I'm always anxious to hear his voice. I don't like these long intros. I think this one had quite a long drum intro, didn't it?
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not, I wasn't a fan of the Smiths, so therefore, I never even knew about them. I was already married and had kids, etc. So it was, it's not my thing. I don't like instrumentals. I like voices and words, So whenever there's anything like that, I get a bit impatient. Like, oh, get on with it,
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, that's me. And why is it called Alsatian Cousin? What's that reference?
Oh, Alsatian Cousin is from a different album, isn't it?
Sorry, I thought it was on the front of that one with the good-looking guy who you said was.
I thought I'm pretty sure Alsatian Cousin is from Viva Hate, which was Morrissey's first solo album.
All right.
And I don't know why it's called Alsatian Cousin, but there is a reason, and I'll look it up and I'll text you.
Yeah, someone from Alsace, I expect that he knew a cousin from Alsace.
Yeah.
The wine region of between France and Germany, isn't it? I think.
Okay. Well, did you think so? You didn't think that his voice he didn't sound blend up?
No, I don't think so. I was just, as I said, I would have liked to have seen it. I don't know if you've got one that you can send me later, but I would like to have seen him performing it to see his facial expressions and nuances, because he often changes odd words, and from the written lyrics, often in some of his performances, there's odd words that have been changed. So I would like to have seen him singing it, but I couldn't find one.
Sometimes that's the way. I mean, there's quite a lot of songs that have never been performed live or maybe performed once.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. No.
Yeah. But in terms of sort of I suppose the instrumental intro might put you off a bit. But in terms of the songs that you've listened to, was it one of the better ones or was it one of the more forgettable ones?
No, I liked it. Of the four I was given, that certainly was the most appealing to me. And as I said, the other one I would listen to again. The one about what's it called? I'm Not a Man.
Yes.
Yeah, I would listen to that. Even some of the words in it, I thought, because I like to think I've got a decent vocabulary, but there were a couple of words and I thought, I don't know what that means. I had to look up. Oh, I'm not a man. What were they? I'm sure you'd know them immediately. You've got great knowledge of words. You're quite a wordsmith. No, I'd have to look them up, but it was like, oh gosh.
I mean, I remember having to look up Don Juan because I'd heard the name, but I didn't know who it was.
No, I know who Don Juan is. That would
I
be
know
easy.
you know, but I didn't know.
But it was in that sort of reference area. It was something like that. I did look it up and see what it meant. Now, of course, with my two little bits of foolscap paper, I can't see it. Oh, Picap. Oh, I can't even say it. Sorry?
Picaresque.
Yeah, okay, that one.
No, I've
rogues or rascals, it says.
Yeah, because wasn't Picard like an author or wrote a certain kind of story, a kind of writing or something? So it's Picard-esque.
Possibly it didn't land anything with me. It didn't ring any bells. Buffaroni, I suppose that was just some reference to meat eaters or something. I don't know.
Yeah, because Chris said that when he was in America most recently, he saw beefaroni, whether it was in a shop or on a menu. It's like pepperoni cheese with beef in it.
Okay. Okay. He would just, but that would all be him sort of denigrating, wouldn't it? Me teachers, I expect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Good. Well, it's not a song that I listen to a lot. I'm gonna listen to it out now after we've talked because you've reminded me. It's also it's autobiographical peak, more autobiographical than a lot of his songs, I think, because
Yes.
people think
Yeah.
it's like clearly about one person, one time,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
and that's always valuable as a Morrissey fan.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you to the Patreon subscribers for choosing the songs. I'll have to look up who it was that suggested the operation, but they'll know who they are, and they'll be pleased that you've gone for it.
And tell them your people on the Morrissey chat group
Yeah.
that they didn't offend me with the reference to the to the kegs.
Oh yeah. Oh, because they were worried that. What'd you say?
I said I'm not easily offended. I think it was Moses, and I don't think it was Colin. I'm not sure, but I thought, don't worry.
Yeah, someone said something about explosive kegs, and they thought if Nanny Val sees it, she might be offended. But we know
Yeah,
you know you better than
explosive kegs between their legs, wasn't it? Something like that.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone's interested, that's the WhatsApp chat which you can join if you are a Patreon subscriber. Okay, well we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Nan.
Okay, my love.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Quiz time.
Quiz time.
So this time, I'm going to ask George 10 questions, Morrissey Smith's related questions, and you're going to have to guess the answers, and obviously play along at home because it's fun. Last time I think I got, I mean I did really well, didn't I?
Like
time?
8 or 9
I think
out of
10
10.
out of 10 it was. 10
No, it
out of
wasn't
10 last
10.
time, which was great. Someone said I was peaking, as in peaking at the answers, which I don't think didn't happen.
No, I can tell when Chris is being deceitful. But
Which is not very often, is it?
No, never. But no, I don't think so. On that occasion, I think you just did really, really well, and I'm hoping to do well this time.
Yeah. Not as well as me, I'm sure, but you can try.
Unlikely. Because as much as I love Morrissey and the Smiths, when it comes down to trivia, I tend to struggle. I hate pub quizzes. I think they bring out the worst in people. But this is a bit different. So, shall we listen to our sexy, spexy quiz theme music?
The cheesy music, yes.
Yes. Okay, right. Here we go. Just to line it up, because I am not a trained audio person and I'm a bit rubbish at this sort of stuff. Here we go. This is the quiz. I got a quiz. I'm gonna win this quiz now. I'm gonna do very well.
Do you think?
Because I am a master of trivia. I can't think of any more to say.
I'm not helping you with that.
You could join in
I could.
instead of leaving me to look like a twat this time.
You don't need help with that.
Oh, a bit out of breath actually. Yeah.
Warm.
Yeah. I know, please don't ask me to sign to your record label. I know after hearing that you'll be thinking, God, this guy could sell millions. I'm just not interested. So, would you like to start with questions?
I would, yeah. Let me find them.
Cheers if you're having a glass of wine at home.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Question number 1. Morrissey shared a YouTube video of his song Christian Dior on Central. This was a few days ago, I think. I've got a real soft spot for this song. Don't know why. I do wear Dior perfume, not the clothes. So where does Morrissey say Dior could have been impregnating women or kissing mad street boys?
Kissing mad street boys from Napoli.
Napoli.
Napoli. On the back streets of Lyon or Marseille, reckless or legless or stoned.
Yeah.
Impregnating women or kissing mad street boys from Napoli.
That's it. So so there's 3 places.
Yes.
So I put down 3 answers, which was Lyon, Marseille, and Napoli, which is obviously where we've been, which is in English. What do they call it? Naples.
Naples, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got that one right because I listed
that's
all
one.
3.
So I will make a note because I don't feel
Okay.
like you did cheat.
Yeah.
They got more than one. Right. Question number 2. In which song does Morrissey say puny body?
Puny body. It is from a song which is on the Louder Than Bombs compilation.
The Orange album.
The Orange album with Sheila Delaney.
Yes.
Throw your skinny body down, but then he also says throw your puny body down, I think. No? I've obviously got it wrong. I thought it was Shakespeare's sister.
No.
Oh,
No.
that's Skinny Body then, is it?
Yeah.
So there's another song. Okay, I obviously got that wrong.
Stretch out and wait.
Oh,
Yeah.
let your puny body lie down.
Lie down. Yeah.
Oh, damn, skinny body, puny body. That was so...
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that in that album, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, he's a wafy, twig-like thing in those times, isn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah. So yeah, so I've got a badge from Salford Lads Club that says puny body in Morrissey's writing.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever I wear it, people can't always pronounce. They don't know the word puny. I think sometimes
Right.
they think punny body. What does that
Oh,
mean?
right.
I've had that so many times. Anyway. So question number 3. So so you've got 1 out of 2 so far. So question number 3. There's a new statue of Oscar Wilde in London
Yeah.
that came out. We know Morrissey described it as grotesque recently, but what did Oscar Wilde's grandson, who's called Merlin Holland, what did he think of it?
Merlin Holland?
Yeah.
Is that a hotel?
There it is, Oscar Wilde's grandson.
Oh,
If you'd know, if you're cultured enough to know.
It's a new one on me. Merlin
Yeah.
Holland. Hi, Merlin. Hope you're listening. What did he think of the statue? Well, he probably... What are you looking for? Like a one-word quote?
No, I did think that, but I think they're quite hard. He did say a word about it, which I'll say at the end.
What kind of answer do you want from me?
I want to know if you think he liked it or he didn't like it.
Oh,
Do you think
yes or no?
do you think he supported it because it was a statue to his granddad?
Yeah.
Or do you think he followed Morrissey's repulsion of it?
I don't think it'd be his granddad, unless Merlin is like 80.
Yeah, he's 78.
Oh, right. I think Merlin liked it.
You think he liked it?
Yeah.
No.
Uh-uh.
He said so Morrissey it was grotesque,
Yeah.
and Merlin said it was repulsive.
Repulsive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he didn't like it.
Right.
Okay. So
Merlin's
this
hard to please.
Yes. Oh, please. Well, yeah. Question number 4. So this one is about our guest, our very special guest this
Yeah.
month. So this is about
Alain.
Alain Whyte. What area of London did Alain Whyte? Was he born? What area was he born?
Where was he born?
Yeah.
Well,
Which part of London? Which bit?
Borough. Yeah, I mean, I know he hung around in Camden in the early 90s, which would tempt me to say Camden.
Really?
Something in my head is saying like Ealing or something, but I'm going to go Camden because that's my best guess.
Camden. Okay. Yes, it was. Yeah, well done. Good.
Thank you. But it is Alan White, by the way. We do know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, we do. Of course we do. I knew anyway.
I-
You're the nincompoop who didn't. Right, so question number 5. Morrissey, as we know from various music videos, is a big fan of the Carry On films.
yeah.
Which Carry On actor, when told he needed his leg amputated to save his life, is believed to have said, "I'd like to die with my boots on."
So this is something the actor said in real life, apparently.
Yes, apparently.
Gosh, amputation of a leg.
So I've already given you away that it's a male actor. But which one?
Well, I just have a feeling that like Sid James would have probably drank a lot and eat some bad food.
A lot of them drank a lot.
Well, those are the days, weren't they? But we can talk. I'm going to go with Sid James because I just feel like he might have a kind of illness where he would have to get a leg amputated.
See, I thought you'd know this one.
No.
I thought you would. So no, it wasn't Sid James, unfortunately for you.
Yeah.
It was Morrissey's probably his favourite actor from the Carry-Ons, Charles Hawtrey.
Oh, that was my other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was also. So you were right down the right channel that he was a big drinker. So yeah. Okay.
Okay. How many have I got so far?
2.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Measly 2.
I'm sure you're doing much better at home.
Okay. This question, which I'm going to bring up as a theme, I think.
Yeah.
Morrissey or Wilde?
Okay.
Genius is born, not paid.
Genius is born, not paid.
Not brought, I think. Actually, I don't even know. I got the quote wrong.
Talent borrows, genius steals has been
No, that one isn't
credited
it. Let me
to
just...
Wilde.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to do a doobly-doobly-doo fact check. Because Chris has screwed up a question.
No, it was that. I was right. You just making me question myself, which I won't do ever again.
Right, say the quote again then, the made-up quote.
So, Morrissey or Wilde? Genius is born, not paid.
It must be Wilde, because
Yes.
it doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
Probably pissed.
Pissed with a Mad Street Boy. Question number 7. Another Alan Whyte question.
Yeah.
Which I think was really interesting when I was looking at this, because I was really keen to see other work that Alan did as well before the interview, before we spoke to him. Which of these artists has Alan not worked with? So I'm going to give you a list of 4 artists, and one of them he hasn't worked with, the other 3 he has. And the list he has worked with is really impressive. There's loads of people. Cheryl Cole, who I think is currently just Cheryl now.
Cheryl.
Black Eyed Peas,
Yeah.
Madonna,
Yeah.
Mick Jagger.
Ooh.
So it's one of them he hasn't worked with, or at least I don't think he has, or at least Wiki said he hasn't.
Okay, well, Cheryl Cole I want to say, because it's like, I don't see the link there, but part of me is like, I think Cheryl would work with, obviously Alan isn't a session musician, but she would just bring people in that style of session musician, not really caring who they are or what the background is. Although, actually, Cheryl Cole apparently likes indie music, so...
She probably would have been thinking he was, which he is, a really cool...
Yeah, maybe, so maybe I'd
bringing the cool into it, yeah.
Totally wrong. I think Mick Jagger, because I think Mick Jagger only really does Stone stuff, and then I think he was in a supergroup with, like, Joss Stone or something at some point, but basically just Stone stuff, and I don't think Alan would have been involved in that, so I'm going to say Mick Jagger.
Well done, yeah, Mick Jagger, well done.
Thank you.
Because I kind of thought that was more of an obvious one, but you're sort of working out there was very, very good. Green tick. Question number 8.
Yeah.
So you need to redeem yourself now, you've only got 3 left.
Okay.
Question number 8. This is an easy one though, really, but Morrissey's playing one show in Canada in the upcoming tour. Whereabouts in Canada?
Oh, gosh. I don't really know many Canadian places. Obviously there's Montreal. Shall I see if
Well, he's doing
Yes.
mostly shows in America, so he's doing Texas, a lot on the East Coast around there,
Yeah.
some sort of strange little places. But he is also doing one show in Canada.
Yeah. I know. I understand the question.
I have to spell it out to your simple brain.
Montreal is in Canada, isn't it?
Yeah, it says, yeah. I don't know what it is though. It's a place in it.
See, it would have been, if I got that right, it would have been like, yes, it definitely is. So it's not Montreal.
No, it is a place in Canada. I know that.
So I think, what else is there? Toronto.
Do you
It
want
must
to
be
know?
Toronto. Must be Toronto.
Do you want a clue?
Yeah.
There's a lot of water there.
Lake.
Oh god, you're so stupid.
I don't know. I'm really bad at geography. I don't know. What is it?
It's Niagara Falls.
Oh, of course. I didn't know that was in Canada, you know. I thought that was in America.
Well, it's half and half.
Is it?
They've got a bit each. They
Okay.
share it.
Sorry,
Anyway,
guys. I'm rubbish. at
Question
geography.
number 9. I think you'd get this one. This is another bit, sort of another Alan thing.
Mm.
So, Life is a Pig Sty. This is a song that you'll come to hear in the interview that Alan says is the one that most impressed Morrissey.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting to hear more about that when he talks about it. He goes into the detail of that.
Mm.
The protagonist in the song explains 2 things can be done to them. So this is life is a pigsty.
Yeah, I know.
2 things can be done to them. What are they?
Yeah. Anal probing.
Not what you want. What? You dirty.
I have no. Anyway, you can shoot me, or you could throw me off a train.
Well done, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
think
the
the lyric
best.
ones you're very good at. Yeah.
I'm really good at lyrics. I'm good at something.
You're good at remember them. Yeah, you're good at quotes and things. You're always quoting at me all the time.
Yeah.
Not just Morrissey, anything.
Mm.
So the last question, number 10. So this one you need to get right to get at least sort of over half of them right.
Oh.
You're five now. You've got
Right.
5.
Oh, I can get 6 if I'm
Yeah.
lucky.
So you can
Okay.
tip it over the edge. Oh yeah. So this one actually, sorry, yeah, I'm going. Yeah. this I really like this. This is also about Alan because I put a lot of Alan stuff in here.
Okay.
But this one, give me a bit of spoilers for the interview, but not too much. We're in the interview with Alan. He mentions that one show reminded him of the shows back in sort of when he first joined Morrissey's band. So that was a question I asked. I was really keen to find out about that. So I asked him about the shows, the previous shows, and the more recent shows, and what the difference was. And he said that one recent show reminded him of the shows back in the 90s, and sort of the vibe and the sort of adrenaline and like the fans. Which show was that?
This is such a crap question because no one else is going to know the answers to this. Only we know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So really, only Chris knows this answer.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I was really struggling for the last question.
It is hard writing the quiz.
It's really, we've done everything now. So,
what?
Yeah.
I
so
get the question.
You get it.
I don't really know the answer. I think it's like, when he said it, I thought that sounds like New Orleans, but it's not. It's like Jacksonville or something.
You're so shit at geography.
Yeah. Was it even in America?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jacksonville.
No.
Not
It was California. It was SLO, San Luis Obispo.
Oh, I didn't even.
Which I was there with my friend Sophie, and it was a really good show. And like so I'm sorry that the question was useless to everybody apart from me. But yeah.
So how many did I get out of 9? Well, yeah, 9. Got 5 out of 9.
5 out of 9.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's just over half.
Yeah. Okay.
So well done, me. How did you do at home? I think Julie Hamill said that last time she got 9 out of 10, or maybe even all of them, right?
You can't trust anything Julie says.
Yeah, giving it all that. No. I think she did very well. We always say, tell us how you did in the quiz. We want to know. If you're really good at it, and you always get 10 out of 10.
Do we not get a response to that?
What?
Just don't respond to that?
No, no one ever.
Do you think they just skip the quiz?
Yeah. Anyway, that's all from the quiz.
Yeah.
What have we got coming up next? We're going to go into some song lyric analysis, bit of reaction stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to do an Alain Whyte song. It's going to be Life is a Pig Sty. So let's have a listen to that.
Yeah.
It's the same old SOS, but with brand new broken fortunes. I am the same underneath, but this you surely knew.
This has to be one of my favourite Morrissey songs. How about you?
Yeah, it is one of my favourites. Although we were just brushing up with the Mozzopedia, which is obviously the Bible of Morrissey and the Smiths, and Simon Goddard, the author, is really not impressed with this song.
Really?
And he makes the point that Morrissey considers it one of his finest. Alain Whyte really likes it.
Yeah.
But for Simon Goddard, this is actually nowhere near one of his best songs. But yeah, I like it very much too.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, what do you make of the lyrics? Was there anything that jumped out at you?
I think one thing that jumps out to me is is how the song can seem quite dark, but there's also the humour in there as well. It's very emotional and sad, but then Morrissey says, "Throw me off a train," and that lightens it quite a lot, doesn't it? Because it's a silly thing really to say. I mean,
Yes.
shooting is a bit more serious, but throwing off a train is
A bit more slapstick.
a bit slapstick, a bit sort of Wild West sort of thing, isn't it?
Well, I've often thought with this song, you know, he talks to someone, he says, once again I turn to you, and he says, I can't reach you anymore. And I know that the temptation is to say that's the person that he's in love with, but It seems like he's talking about something metaphysical. Like, is he talking to God? Perhaps is he saying, he asked someone, "Can you please stop time? Can you stop this pain?" Well, how many people have the ability to stop time, stop pain?
Yeah.
Because he also says, I'm falling in love again, and so I think that the person he's in love with is someone else, and most of the song he's addressing to God, I think, because this is the same album with "Dear God, Please Help Me," isn't it?
Yeah.
When he was in his Rome kind of very Catholic kind of phase. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think about that bit, the stopping the pain. I think that definitely is something that somebody could do if if the right person comes along, or the person you're in love with, they can easily. It's a bit Black Cloud, isn't it? It reminds me of that lyric in Black Cloud where you can sort of stop there. Someone comes along, they can easily, whatever they do can change your mood massively if they decide to say they love you or something. And I think the bit about time there is quite interesting because it's a theme that comes up in so many Morrissey songs. Time. I mean, I was thinking about it earlier. And in "I'd Love You," he says, "Time's gonna wipe us out."
In what song?
"I'd Love To."
Oh yeah.
And then in I was looking at some earlier, and I think in "My Hurling Days," the time's mentioned in there, which.
And it's also in "Spent the Day in Bed."
Yes, yeah.
Time, do as I wish.
And in "Gang Lord," there's a time reference there.
Yeah. Well,
The
Morrissey
clock on
says,
the wall makes a joke of us all.
yes, Morrissey says in this song, even now in the final hour of my life, and it seems once he gets past "You Are the Quarry," sort of 2004, post 2004, he's thinking about death a lot more, and growing old or older, and I suppose time is going to play more in your mind as you get older. But I mean, 2004, he was.
Yeah, he still was.
He wasn't old. He's he's in his 60s now. It's still not that old, but he obviously feels it very strongly.
Maybe for a musician, it is a bit older.
Yeah.
So.
And he also, on that note, in this song, he says, "I am still the same underneath. This you surely knew." And I think this is the other side of the coin to the time thing. He's saying, at least in my opinion, I'm still the same angsty poet that I was when I started with the Smiths. I haven't really changed. And we've often said that Morrissey occupies this adolescent mindset for many reasons, and in some ways that's a really good thing for art. And I think at this point he's saying, I'm still the same, I'm still that person, even though I'm getting wrinkles and and I'm tired and I'm feeling pain.
Yeah.
And what do you think he means by "I've been shifting gears all of my life"?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, and I think the people who've been to some of the shows around that time, I think the guys, the crew had been shifting gear because I think the crew of the tour guys. I don't know. I mean, could it be that you have to keep changing yourself, or that's how I take it a little bit.
A bit like
or adjusting yourself to the situation, and but it also makes it sound like it's hard work doing that. It's not natural. Maybe.
Yeah, I guess he's saying I'm still the same car. Yes, I may have gone into fifth gear sometimes, and sometimes in first gear, and sometimes in reverse, but I'm still the same underneath. I guess it relates to that line. Yeah. I also wanted to point out that in this, with "You can throw me off a train, you can shoot me," is very much like "Is It Really So Strange" by the Smiths, when he says, "You can kick me, you can punch me, but you won't change the way I feel." Yeah. It's the same theme of like, well, yes, you might have a violent streak and you might use that on me, but it's not really going to change. No. The feelings that I have. I mean, it's slightly long, isn't it? It comes in at about 7 minutes.
Yeah, there's a bit of a break in there as well, isn't there, towards the end?
Yeah. So it's a bit of an epic, and I think because of its length, it kind of seems like the main song on Ringleader of the Tormentors, which I think is a really strong album, generally.
Yeah, I think so. It's one of my favourite albums.
Yeah. I think this is a song about getting older, feeling more pain, feeling the passing of time seems to be going quicker and quicker, and Morrissey asserting that he's still the same person, even though his outward appearance might be changing, Okay, well, we're going to move on now, because coming up we have got our interview with Alain Whyte.
Yes, yep.
The writer of the music on this track. He will tell us a bit about his feelings toward Life's a Pig Sty. He'll give us a sneak preview at Without Music the World Dies, one of 2 upcoming Morrissey albums.
Yeah.
It's a really good interview, isn't it?
It is really good, yeah. It's just the whole thing flew by because it was so enjoyable to do.
Yes. So let's go into that now.
Hello.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
Hey Alan, hey up.
How are you guys? You all right?
Yeah, yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm alive.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
So I wonder, Alan, if you could take us back to those rockabilly days in Camden in the early 90s where your journey with Morrissey started. Can you paint that picture for me? What was it like in Camden at that time, being into that kind of music?
It was quite a rough time. You know, there was still a spill from the Margaret Thatcher era, I feel. I don't know. There was a lot of unemployment, especially around 1981. I mean, Camden was quite rough then. I remember walking down the street and 4 skinheads saw me with a quiff, and that was it. I had to run. They just immediately chased after me and were going to beat me up.
Wow.
It was kind of like that. It was,
You got away.
yeah. And the rockers were pretty tough too, though. But they used to get into it with skinheads. You know, they used to be a pretty bad punch up, that one.
So it was, I know for those who don't know, and I'm sure they will if they're listening to this podcast, you're the most prolific songwriter for Morrissey, and that first started in 1992, I believe, with Passionate Love.
That's correct. Yeah, wow. That was the first demo that I ever wrote for Morrissey. The second demo was We Hate It When Our Friends Become Successful.
Wow.
So that was the first single that I ever wrote for Morrissey.
Speaking about that, how did you how did you first meet Morrissey? And what helped you click? Do you think?
That's a really good question. I'll try and keep it as quick as I can, but because there's so many factions involved here. There was a rockabilly club that was on every Thursday called the Camden Workers Social Club. And it was actually in Kentish Town. And one week Morrissey came down and I actually missed him, but I heard he was looking for musicians. Boz was milling around apparently, and I think he had done some sessions with Morrissey prior to me doing this session for Pregnant for the Last Time. So I was like, darn, I miss Morrissey. Like, he's looking for musicians. I'm the man for the job. So I went to my 4-track cassette recorder and I recorded 4 instrumental tunes onto a cassette, like a C60 cassette. And I put my name and my telephone number on there. And I figured he would come back, you know, the following week. So he didn't show up the following week, but the week after that, 2 weeks later, he came back and I had the courage to just walk up to him with no care whatsoever and just say, I heard you're looking for a guitarist, you know, or musicians. I play guitar, a little bit of piano, harmonica. I'm the man for the job. Here's a tape to show you that I can play. He'd be, oh, cool. And I just walked off and I didn't expect to ever hear from him. And then I got called in from Boz to come in and do the Pregnant for the Last Time session. But the problem with that was all the guitars were done on that. They wanted me to try piano, and I'll be honest with you, I was totally out of my depth. It was too difficult for me. So I did harmonica on that, and it got miscredited on the Sing Your Life EP.
Oh no.
But really that stems from the Pregnant for the Last Time session. And to be honest, I didn't go down particularly very well with Morrissey during that session. I think he got the wrong idea of me. I drove him a little crazy because I think I was too much in awe or something, you know.
Okay.
So like I botched that session up, and Boz was so mad at me. He was like, "You ruined the session," and I felt terrible. You know, I felt so upset about it. I had to go at him. I just said, like, if Morrissey can't accept me for who I am, then sod it. Do you know what I mean? Basically, he can go and himself, you know. And so can you. Like, I was really mad, but at the time, really, I was just upset. So that was December 1990. Then around March, I was rehearsing back in a rockabilly covers band just for fun, and doing our own stuff too with Gary and Spencer. And then we had John O'Malley that was in a group called the Nitros on lead guitar, and he was terrific. Still good buddies with him. Anyway, it was just the three of us, and we went to the Sir Richard Steele in Belsize Park, and we're just up there. In the upstairs part was a quiet area, and they had a pool table up there, and we were just drinking. In walks Morrissey. And I'm like, oh my God. And my hair was all washed out, like it was dead flat. And I had like a leather box jacket on. And I just went up to him. All right, Moss, do you remember me? I'm Alan. Oh yeah, I remember you. What are you doing? And I said, well, I've just been rehearsing with these guys. And just thought we'd come up here and have a quiet drink. And that's when he turned around and said, would you and your friends like to appear as my band in the Sing Your Life video?
Oh wow.
Yeah, like but he didn't say Sing Your Life video, but that's what it became. Sorry, he said, would you like to, pose as my band for a video? I was like, absolutely. No, that'd be great. And then I knew I had a second chance, like a second lifeline. Do you know what I mean? So I went. Morrissey quickly drank up and left, and I walked over to Spencer and Gary, and I was like, he's asked us, man, to pose as his band in a video. I swear to God, I think we got a really good chance of becoming his band. We should immediately learn up some Smith stuff and Bone and Drag material, and so we're ready. So we did the video. Truthfully, I didn't know the song, obviously, because it hadn't been released yet, So we were miming. We didn't know how the song went. So we're miming in the Sing Your Life video, but all my friends, like the whole rockabilly contingent and everything, is actually in that video. My second girlfriend's even in that video. She's got the red hair. It was just funny, like all my mates were in that video, and it was kind of like the scene was in that video too. And sure enough, 6 weeks after that, I got a call from Morrissey's PA, and it's like, Morrissey would like to try you guys out for an audition, and we were ready. But the amazing thing was, he said, Mark Nevin has pulled out, doesn't want to do it. Do you know anybody that could fill his spot? And I said, yeah, there's only one person. I said, that's Boz Bora. So I managed to redeem myself. That's the story.
What do you think, Alan? What do you think was the first track that you wrote that really impressed Morrissey? You thought, yes, I've got it this time, and he knows what I'm all about. Was it the first one, or did it, was it a little bit later?
Probably the batch of your Arsenal songs, because he would come up to me and say, could you write a song like Jean Genie? It's like, yeah, sure. And then, I kind of morphed Shoplifters and Jean Genie and some other 70s rock track to create Glamorous Glue, So I think, initially he asked me, he said, can you write tunes? I was like, yeah, I can. Because I'd been writing songs with my own bands and stuff prior to that, you know, on like 4-track cassette recorders. So, I, but I think the song that he's most amazed by that I've ever written is probably "Life's a Pig Sty."
Oh wow. Okay.
And I'd probably say that's probably the best tune I've ever written for him. It's not my favorite. My favorite that I wrote for him is "The Edges Are No Longer Parallel." I
love that.
just love the beauty of that tune
Yeah, that's
with
one of your
its
favorites, isn't
lyrics. It's like a perfect, you know, for me anyway. But tune wise, yeah, "Life's a Pig Sty" is phenomenal. You know, I really crushed that one.
So you have written tracks, I understand, for Without Music the World Dies.
Yeah.
Do you think we're ever gonna hear, in all seriousness, are we ever gonna hear this album, do you think? And do you hope that we will?
Um, I hope so. I'm sure, you know, I'm sure he'll get a deal at some point. I don't know why he doesn't just self-release stuff, to be honest. It would probably be much more profitable for him. And who knows if the same songs will be on that record, because, you know, as you know, I'm not currently in the band. So he might track fresh material with the guys that he has right now. I don't know. I don't know, but it was really cool. It was a great experience, and I really enjoyed it. You know.
Is there anything you can tell us about the trying to not use cliche language, but I want to say the feeling of the album, the sound of the album? Does it go in a different direction than what we might expect, or is it similar to other albums that he's released?
No, it's totally different. I'll be honest with you. It surprised me. It went more in a 70s direction, which, you know, I think he just wanted to try and distance himself from anything that he's done before. And I mean, I'd written a ton of stuff. I'd written some brilliant stuff that would have been great Morrissey songs in the typical sense of you know, what the fans, diehard fans, would have liked to have heard. But with that album, I think he was trying to go in a completely different new direction. So I didn't really have enough time to sort of produce enough tracks in that kind of way. And I was writing stuff while I was there in France recording. I had a little setup in my room, and I'd be like trying to write stuff. But I had a big part. I feel like I worked really hard. I sort of played out all the horn parts for the cover of Suspicious Minds, because we changed the key. I think we recorded it in the key of D, and the original's obviously in the key of G. And so I had to transpose all the horn parts, and I played them, and then, you know, from that we could give that to actual proper horn players to play. But yeah, it was great. It was really fun. I think it was a pretty decent cover as well.
Actually, Chris has got a good question that he wants to ask you, which is slightly left field, but we're very keen to ask it.
Yeah, so it just I suppose, yeah, a bit left field, like George said, but it's I think it's something that we would be interesting. Do you did you ever buy Moz a Christmas or a birthday present?
That's a good question. No, I never bought him a Christmas present, but I would send him cards, Christmas card. I have gotten him presents though. I gotten him birthday presents, but no, not Christmas. That's a pretty good question, that one.
It'd be hard to think of what
I
to
can
get.
yeah. I mean, he usually vanishes on Christmas. You'd be lucky if you could find him.
I know that you wrote the music for Notre Dame. Is that right? This recent track.
Yeah.
And to me, it has echoes of National Front Disco in the sense that it has the lyrics have controversial elements. And
Uh,
I'd love to ask you about National Front Disco and how that came about, but with Notre Dame more recently, when you heard the lyrics for the first time, did you have a slight intake of breath?
Yeah, I knew it was kind of controversial, and National Front Disco was different though, because really it's an anti-racist song, but obviously the title was very controversial. I remember at the time he's like, I've written to your tune. He goes, you're not going to like the title. I know I said this on that, the importance of Morrissey, but it was really true, you know. He said, well, what's it called? As it's called the National Front Disco. And I just went, oh my God. Dude, are you trying to get us killed or what? You know? Notre Dame, though, that's funny. I wrote that when I was there during recording. And I had all these other parts. And he had actually other lyrics to those parts. So really what was strange about that is I kind of had verses which would be like, Notre Dame, you know who tried to kill you, whatever it was, right? And then it went into this totally other section, pre-hook and choruses. So it was a different tune. It wound up being a different song to how I wrote the actual initial demo. So in the end, we had to try and keep 7 verses really interesting. Do you know what I mean? It was another one of those, you know.
Do you remember
Music.
do you remember the theme of those lyrics that didn't end up included? Was that going into a character, or was that, do you remember?
It was going more towards a character, you know. I can't remember off the top of my head the lyrics now, which is really frustrating. But it seemed to be more about person rather than about the actual building.
Okay.
I know, Alan, that we want to keep this interview positive, and I'm really keen to do that as well. So I try and frame this in the right way. Morrissey gets a lot of stick in the media from music fans. Do you see a lot of these accusations as unjust? Do you feel defensive towards him? Do you think he can handle himself? You know, how do you feel about that whole thing?
It's tricky. I have to be careful what I say here. I think I've done a few things that haven't helped, you know. That's all I'm going to say. But I do feel like back in 92, you know, I felt it was completely unjust. You know, it was totally unjust. I think it's unjust in general. I don't think Morrissey's a racist at all. So I'm defending him on that. But do I think he may have slipped on a few banana peels? Maybe. You know, I don't know.
So people have the opportunity to see you very soon in the flesh. You're supporting Modern English. So they're a post-punk band, right? Did they form in the late 70s, early?
Yeah, they did. But, you know, notably, they had a very big pop hit with Melt With You.
Yeah.
That was a huge hit. But their new album, I've been listening to their new album, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I really like it. It's really good. You know, no, they're a good band. Excited to open up for them.
What can if Morrissey fans come on to see, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of them that do, what can they expect from your set? Is there going to be some songs from your career with Morrissey, or is it just your solo stuff? What's on the cards?
Yeah, there's going to be there'll be songs that I've written for Morrissey, songs that Spencer wrote for Morrissey, and then mainly, you know, my solo stuff too. But it will be a nice balance, you know. So, yeah, things we're involved in.
And that's California and Nevada. That's throughout October this month. And if you want to buy tickets, they're on the Modern English website, which is modernenglish.me. That's M-E, modernenglish.me. Alan, I've really enjoyed this chat. I'm sure Chris has as well. Like, really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's an honor to speak to you as well because
Yeah.
and George will share this that some of the music you've written has made me very happy and lots of other people. But yeah, it's an honor. Thank you.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Thank you. I mean, like I said, if it wasn't for the fans, you know, I wouldn't have a life in music. So I'm incredibly grateful to grateful to Morrissey for the opportunity I got to work with him. And yeah, I mean, never rule things out, but very grateful to the fans first and foremost, because without them, you know, I don't have that music job. So I'm very humbly grateful. So thank you very much. I've really enjoyed this conversation too, and it's lovely to meet you guys.
So, Alan Whyte.
Yeah, that's a little bit starstruck.
Yeah, a little bit starstruck. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, he was really at ease. He opened up, you know, to us and answered our questions. Interesting, isn't it, that his whole career with Morrissey started by him taking that leap of faith.
Yeah, yeah.
And just going up to Morrissey and giving him a cassette with his phone number, and then seeing him by chance at a pub again.
Yeah.
Got a second chance. Ended up in that Sing Your Life video, which I had no idea that the band at that point weren't
Just
really
miming.
the band.
Yeah.
They were just there to look good on the instruments, and then they became the band.
And when he met Morrissey in the pub, I think that's my nightmare, and I think a lot of people's nightmare is having a flat hair or something, not looking right. And we wouldn't want to bump into Morrissey and you look bad.
And not have your quiff on.
Well, I can't imagine you look bad, but he said flat hair.
So, as we said before, that's the 20 minutes sort of best bits of the interview. But the full 45 minute interview, you can listen to if you become a Patreon subscriber. So, you'll also get the 30-minute bonus episode, Chris and George off mic, and various other benefits that I talked about earlier. So if you want to join our Patreon and get these sort of extra bits, then look at the link in the podcast description below, whether you're listening to the podcast or on YouTube. The links will be there. You can also find the link on our socials. So that's it for this month.
Yep.
We've tried to shorten it a bit because we've been doing all this polling of like how long do people want the podcast to be.
What was the answer?
Well, it sort of hovered between 45 minutes and an hour and 15.
Okay.
So if we can hit that, I think we can.
That's the gold spot.
Yeah, so that's all going to be in the edit. But anyway, I hope that's worked for you and you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for joining us again, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you. Viva
Cheers.
Morrissey.
What?
Viva Morrissey.
Oh, Viva Morrissey, yeah, and Godspeed.